Oh, where'd my other tab? Cheers, Mr. Duck. It's Tuesday. That means Alien Earth, buddy. Let's go. How's your day, Mr. Duck? What the fuck? Yo, this is crazy. Dude, what the fuck? Bro, this show is so good. Holy fuck. Averting expectations every time. But Broggy's been well. You know what? That little mooching motherfucker, bro. I actually was thoroughly surprised. He came upstairs and for once didn't actually want me to like give him food or anything. He actually needed it outside. I was surprised. Little rat. Think I'll ever get bored of OSRS? Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been playing it since I was in grade 3 though, so hard to say. I'm probably like cheese, more than likely. Bro, the sound effects that they have for the face hugger in this show is insane. It's like you can hear it like breathing and shit. Yeah, I'm watching the home theater. What? They're just gonna allow like humans to do this? What the fuck? Yeah. What? Really? Yeah, that's because Dad's gonna divvy it up between everybody. Yeah. 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 He's just fucking not gonna like he's not gonna do anything with it. He's just gonna sell it and fucking piss away hundreds of thousands of dollars on bullshit. And then those people that buy it from him are gonna put the fucking multi-million-dollar fucking apartment there. Yeah. Yeah. What you gotta do is be like, remember that time you could have fucking owned the Tim Hortons? Remember that time you could have fucking bought a property up north that's worth like $5 or $6 million today now? Remember when you could have done all that then? This is your opportunity to make things right. Yeah, well, not for us, for him. This is your retirement right here, dude. Like, this is mom's retirement right here too. This is mom's retirement. Like, you want mom to fucking work the rest of her life, dad? Is that what you want? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's too early to be doing that though. At the moment, I already talked to her. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're just fucking yourself here, dude. You're gonna sit here and yeah, you're fucking your family, but like, it's not like you're doing. Yeah, and it's not like you're fucking. It's not like you won't be paying Paul and them either. Yeah, exactly. That's the fucking loan. That's what I was. Yeah, yeah. Way more than 10 does. Way more. Oh, here it's worth like probably 600K or something. Nah, no chance. It's for sale right now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My point exactly. It's not that much, man. Yeah, I would just sell the fucking condo, get the fuck out of here, and then just fucking pay him, Paul and them from that. Yeah, he's fucking retarded, man. Like, I love the guy, but fuck, he's so stupid. Fuck. Yeah, it's like fucking actually makes sense. Yeah, 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 yeah. We'll fucking talk to him not this weekend, but next weekend. Well, I got Annabelle coming down, so we can't really have it this weekend, right? But so next weekend for sure. We'll fucking like. Yeah, you're fucking. It's like, dude, dad, like, don't be fucking stupid for once in your life, man. Do anything. You'll fucking just sit there and piss away the next fucking 10 years of your life, being like, "Fuck, I should have done this, should have done that." Oh, it's all he ever says. That's all he ever says. Fucking should have done this, should have done that. Like, fucking do it then. Yeah, you don't. Love you too. Yeah, you too. Peace. Yeah, fuck, man, my dad's fucking so stupid. I love the guy. Fuck, is he dumb sometimes? Fuck, is he dumb sometimes, man? Fuck, that pissed me off. Why, man? Just why? Dude, this is crazy. One thing I don't like about this show is like how they start the episodes sometimes is kind of like I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. Just don't feel right. Banked XP Herblore 77 Lantidine. Highlander tire. 30 same guy. The fuck is Highlander tire? I gotta save the Harrys. Rare. Oh, this is how I do things. That makes so much more sense, bro. Oh. Airman. Prayer. Agility. Toad flags. Agility. Super attacks. Yup. Super strength. Yup. Super. Yup. Rain. Dwarf weed. Dwarf weed turns into ranging pots. Oh, I didn't know that. 600,000 banked? Jesus. Jesus. Ooh, thanks, cry. My dad's doing well, Thug Duck. Like, he just inherited. So, he inherited my grandmother's property. What we should do, as I'm telling my dad, and it's like, okay, look, I'll just show you on the map, okay? Show you on the map. So, where am I here? Um, University Play. Let me do that. Boom. Okay, so we're here at University Plaza. How do I do street view? Okay, so you see this like giant plaza here? Like, let's see. Like, you see this giant plaza here, right? My grandmother lives just like, you see this like property here? This is where my grandmother lives. She owns this entire property, right? She owns this whole property. My dad just inherited this entire property, and it's right across from this University Plaza. And then just down this road, if you keep going straight, there's like one of the biggest universities in all of Canada. Okay? It's McMaster University. Telling my dad what he should do is he should either sell the place we're in now, so it's worth a good chunk of money, millions of dollars, millions of dollars. What my dad should do now, I'm telling him, is either sell this place and then move into this one, and then he can pay off his brothers and shit from the money that he makes from this place. Boom, boom, bang. Okay. Either move into this, or what I say, he should have this all turned into fucking condominiums. Like, if you get, like, just do the math here. Even if you were to do fucking 20 units, 20 units times 2,000, that's an extra 40 grand a month. You know what I'm saying? That's just a month. If you were to turn that into, like level out the property and get it fucking dosed. How big is the property? I mean, it's pretty big. I don't know the exact dimensions and shit, but like, it goes all the way from like this hedge here, and then like it's pretty big. It's big enough for a condominium, like big condominium. And then like you can see like into the back there, kind of. You know what I mean? You can see into the back, like what they should do is that, in my opinion, like fuck. Even if you have enough space for 20 people to invest in a condo, well, that's the beautiful thing about Canada. Whether you can get a construction loan, you can get a fucking construction loan if you have 5% of what you have to pay. Let's say it costs like what, $500,000. No, let's say it costs 800,000 to build times 0.5. I did that wrong. Yeah, let me. It'd be 40,000. Wait, 40,000? No, it wouldn't. Yeah, it'd be $40,000 that we'd need, bro. That's like fuck all. You could sell your place, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to tell him, man. And he's like, all fucking depressing. No, I'm just gonna sell it and fucking squander millions of dollars. All he wants is a brand new pickup truck, and that's all he's thinking about is, oh, I'll just fucking sell this place and go get a brand new fucking pickup that'll fucking be garbage in fucking 10 years. It's just like, fuck, man. He's pissing me off just talking about it. Such a waste of money. He always goes, "Oh, I got nothing to leave my kids and this and that, and I've wasted so many opportunities in my life." It's like, this is another opportunity that you're gonna waste. Like, what the fuck? Doesn't even make fucking sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking retarded, man. Like, why fucking do that? It's just like, doesn't even fucking sense, man. Pissing me off. Just talking about this fucking bullshit. Dude, I don't even care if I ever even see a dime from that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Just for him. Like, if they were to do that, my mom could retire. You know what I mean? You can't sell rooms? Yo, fuck that. We're literally, nah, we would be selling rooms, dude, because This is down like literally 1 block away from the biggest university in all of Ontario. People like literal Asian students and shit fucking fly over here all the time just to fucking come here. If he sold the no, he does. He can't. If he sold the property, he's got to split it up between 3 other people. So it'd be the money that he would get would be cut into fourths. With reasonable prices. That's what I'm saying. All condos are in here and cost $2,200 for a 1 bedroom. If we put it on the market for 2 grand, those shits would be fucking sold, and that's 40 grand in your pocket every month. You know what I'm saying? Literally the down payment. Like, fuck, man. How the fuck did he not see this? I'm literally gonna sit here and punch out fucking numbers and make like a whole fucking sheet. Like, the residents will literally pay for my con. Exactly. Like, I don't like he's just not thinking straight. Like, he's literally just not thinking straight, man. It's fucking driving me insane though, dude. Like, if he fucking ends up just selling this shit, I'm gonna be so fucking mad at him. Like, for his sake though, not because like I care about the money and shit. Like, just for his sake. 2 chains. Nah, just one baby. Just one. I'd be so fucking pissed, Doug. Like, you have no idea. Anyways, the gangbanger. Yeah, call me fucking Trey Gray, the fucking wannabe gangbanger. You gonna use Arena Access now? Yeah, attaboy. Did you see that fucking LeBron stopped in my chat the other day? He's like, yo, bro, it's pussy me, picks me, and it's been a long time, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yo, get the fuck out of my chat right now, you fucking goofball. Probably hanging out at the Diddy party, weren't you, LeBron? And he's just like, fuck you, you fucking loser, piece of shit, drug addict, bitch. And he starts, like, raging, bro. It's funny. I was howling. Hey, we cutting the 43 though. That's nuts. Mine's 86, big dog. Jayski, you want to hear something? Watch the XP rates at this place, bro. Oops, shit. Check out the XP rates at this fucking place, man. Watch how much XP I get for one thing, like setting one thing on fire. All right, watch, watch. This is crazy. Just wait for this. It'll pop up here, like in the top right here. 22 seconds. Just lighting this brazier gives me what 444 XP. Just doing one of these logs without fucking fletching it gives me what? 224 XP. When I fletch it, it's like 250 or some shit. Like a Cub Scout. And when you fletch it, it gives me what? 283 XP. 280. Yeah, so you can fly around with a serial. It's stupid. No, not even like interested in playing. Dude, that's fucking crazy. Yo, this show is so good, bro. Oh my fucking god. Fucking amazing. This show is so good. Dude, she's sitting there fucking talking to the alien, fucking telling him to attack him. What the fuck? That's crazy, bro. What the fuck? Nibs is crazy as fuck. Fuck. Bro, this show is fucking crazy. Dude. Dude, what the fuck? Yo, this show's so good, man. Dude, fuck. Wild. Get drop guaranteed. Go fight Spider. What Spider? Dude, that's crazy. Where is it? Where is it? Sarachnis? Talking about Sarachnis? Dude, that's fucking insane. In Sarachnis? Nah, I'm not doing no Boston. I'm just doing Wintertodt, bro. I'm trying to get a drop. I'll show you here in a minute. I just want to get as much fire making done here as I can. Bro, this is insane. I'm watching Scooby Doo, and no, I'm watching Alien Earth. Alright, J Ski. So, what I'm trying to get here is this thing right here called the Tome of Fire. Tome of Fire it basically gives me unlimited fire runes. Dragon Axe would be pretty cool too, but not necessary. Pet, fuck yeah, let's go. How do I even get drops? It's true. They are pretty good. You get the drops by going here. You search this and then cancel that. Renner. Tuna. Like Alien vs Predator, like yeah, minus the Predator. Like Alien, this is like the best Alien shit since like Aliens, hands down. Dude, this show's so good, bro. What the fuck? Dude, that's insane. Gilderson, he's alright. Guild's alright. The OG. Yo there, son. No fucking way they're gonna do this. He's gonna try and use Hermit. This is crazy. Dude, this is so fucking sick. Bro, what the fuck? Yo, this show's so good, man. I wonder if I wonder if she's gonna like side with the fucking the Xenos over her own brother. Dude, this is nuts. I can't even contemplate what the fuck is happening right now. I'm gonna have to watch this over again. This is crazy. It's a good episode. Here, Axe. What's up, buddy? Hey, how's my guy? What's up? What's up? Yo. Yo. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Dude, this is insane. What an episode. I was not expecting that. Fuck man, that was good. Yeah. Fucking good, man. Holy. Here.
We cut to Joe going to Wendy's room. I love how the set designers still have lots of cuddly toys about, as it does highlight that Wendy's still a kid. It's also where she's at mentally, and also why she's not really thinking too much into the plan. Joe then tells her the trackers are off and that he's got a plan to escape, which we saw him drawing out last week. However, she feels responsible for the other hybrids. She's the one who sold them this deal with the devil and has damned them to this immortality of servitude. Going to get Nibs, we finally get a confrontation between Wendy and Curly. I did expect a bit more of a showdown after Curly was basically taking advantage that Wendy was knocked out. Curly has been your sort of Tinkerbell archetype, and she's been jealous of Wendy throughout the show. She wanted Pan's affection, but he's been besotted with Wendy. Now Curly's angry at first due to Nibs being freaked out. Curly loves Neverland, as to her it's the best place she's ever been. We don't really know much about their lives off the island, other than Nibs grew up on a farm and Slightly has a family in India. But beyond that, there isn't really much to go on. Wendy and Slightly seem to be the only ones interested in their past lives, so I do feel like the characters could be nursing some trauma, especially Nibs. Nibs is holding Mr. Strawberry, which is a toy that she got from Dame Sylvia's room. She has to keep it after nursing it like a child, and it kind of represents the baby that she thinks she's having. It's also very similar how Newt carried around a doll in Aliens. The name may have another meaning, but all I can think of is the name uttered by Cooper in Twin Peaks. It was never really cleared up what that meant in the show, but let me know below exactly what you think it means. But yeah, both are weird shows with lots of crazy things going on, and Nibs is crazy. She says that no one can mess with her insides and that she still feels whole. I think it just shows she's completely broken, and like that doll on the beach, things aren't together. We as outsiders can see a lot's missing, and in the end she becomes a killer robot, which won't look good to the shareholders, especially as the whole thing is like robots can't harm humans. Ultimately though, Nibs decides to go with Joe and Wendy.
We're all gonna die here.
Now this has a twofold meaning for me. The kids are of course already dead, as their bodies were zipped up in bags and buried. Beyond that though, Toodles has just died, and it's further playing on their mortality. Curly however is staying put. She says how the boy genius just wants to help people and is fully under his spell. Snitches get stitches and end up in ditches though, so Curly promises to not tell anyone where they're going. But I do think it's implied by what goes on that, yeah, she was the one who snitched. Now saying that, you know, Joe was like asking about the boat all the time to his mates, who also show up at the end. I mean, he wasn't exactly subtle, was he? So it could have been either one of them, but personally I think Curly was behind it. Dame is someone she confides in, and basically a symbol of trust for the children. Dame might have even asked about Arthur off screen, and yeah, she might have just cracked him in like, the kids are making a break for it. This is the best place I've ever been, 5 stars TripAdvisor. I think the main thing we have to realize though is that boys eventually going to do something so erratic that it gets them killed. Though the whole thing with the specimens was played off as an accident, we know that Boy would have brought the samples back to his island with or without the help of the hybrids. He was working with Petrovich and knew exactly what cargo that the Maginot was carrying. Now if it wasn't that, you know, it would be something else, and the guy's got a very cavalier attitude. He's called Boy Cavalier. He's got a very boyish cavalier attitude because that's subtext, but it's basically showing that if they stay here long enough, something's gonna get them killed. Wendy is just very lucky she can speak Xenomorph. Like, Some crazy Dr. Doolittle. Now, Wendy, Joe, and Nibs need a distraction, so Wendy hacks the security at the lab. I love how as we come in, we can see the dead Xenomorphs tables completely at an angle. The acid in the blood's just slowly corroding the table, and over the episodes, it's been bent more and more out of shape. Wendy then just decides, just open up the door, and she unleashes the Xenomorph on the workers in the lab. Feel a bit bad for that woman just doing her research, mate, but yeah, she actually manages to escape. If you pay attention to the footage, you can see her dash out the room as it goes after the soldiers. It absolutely cleans house though, and we see it wipe out most of the staff. And one thing that I found interesting is that the hybrids are actually in Slightly's room. On the left of the monitor, we can see Slightly's cricket pads just before the worker gets skewered. This is something that we saw earlier in the season when Kirsch was talking to him. Might have just been a case of forgetting to redress the set, or maybe they chose to meet here to try and find Slightly and Smee. Either way, it's a badass scene, and us Alien fans have been eating good this season with the Xenomorph stuff. It also kind of shows there's a very dark side to Wendy. She's kind of moving away from her humanity, and now views them as something that's just getting in the way. We then cut to Dame looking at pictures of Arthur that were clearly taken last week. Guessing she's wondering why he hasn't texted back, as he probably never said goodbye. Obviously, she could have left with him and got a job somewhere else, but I think she feels a responsibility to the hybrids. Just like how Arthur could have left Toodles to his own devices, but instead he had to go in the lab and find him after seeing his tracker was broken. I do wonder if this loyalty will lead to Dame's death as well, as both have put the kids above their own self-interests. Boy then walks in raging and says,
"Where is he?" "Oh, the spouse."
Now, it's kind of similar to how he only referred to Joe as the brother. It shows how little he cares for the people around him. He only sees those in his life as employees and his citizens. Even those that died in the crash were people he didn't really care about. Though he mockingly asked Yutani for thoughts and prayers, he wasn't giving that himself. He was just there to basically make money from the crash that he caused. Now, we did theorize that Arthur's firing would cover for Slightly taking his body. However, Boy knows he didn't get on the transport. Because of this though, Boy thinks he's potentially loose somewhere, and we can see the pressure finally getting to the character.
Why? Because he's a fucking saint.
That's like the first time he's really had an outburst, and this downfall of his company is coming not only from the inside, but also the outside as well. Considering that we haven't heard of Prodigy in the movies, we can safely assume the boy genius isn't that smart and his company will soon expire, so sell your stocks. I do feel like we might even see the island destroyed next week, and that Morrow's strike team is just the first wave coming in. They're of course there purely to secure the Xenomorph, and then I feel like Yutani's just gonna send in the cavalry and bomb the shit out of the island. Dame's then given the bombshell news that Arthur's missing, and he's turned off all the trackers. She genuinely has no idea what's going on though, and then we get the alarm. Once again, we watch as Boy's rude to Kirsch and he says,
"Be useful."
I really wish we could just see Kirsch slap the smug off that little shit's face, and I do hope we get that at some point. We then see a team moving through the room covered in the mist. I do wonder if this is where the eggs will be planted when the Xenomorphs finally overrun the island. Earlier in the season, we saw the mold scrubbers working here, and it would provide the perfect environment for the creatures. Now, in case you missed our last video, we talked about how Noah Hawley revealed those guys were just cleaning away the mold. On that breakdown, Firestud Kai in the comments discussed how the mold may have a deeper meaning, beyond just what we said in that the compound's becoming infected. They said that if we can't even contain something terrestrial like mold, then it's going to be impossible for us to contain the creatures. Which is a point I love. Look, I even wrote I love that as a reply. Mold is also harmful to humans, whereas it isn't harmful to the machines. So again, it's kind of playing into the different levels of danger. Behind them, we then catch Slightly and Smee sneaking Arthur's body around. Kirsch comes across them and then reveals he knows what's going on. It was like,
"Hello, Austin. How was your honeymoon?"
Well, it turns out that Vanessa was a fembot.
Yes, we knew all along, sadly.
he then directs them to the best route, and as we know, this is all part of the plan. I love how this is the first time he's helping as well, but he's only doing it because he knows they're going to be late otherwise. He wants them to meet with Morrow, and then this will allow them to lead him into his trap. I did wonder if Kirsch also had turned the trackers back on, and this is how they were able to find the pair with Arthur. He may have even tipped off the team later on about Wendy, and out of everyone, seems like the only person who's actually in control. And the only one who isn't an absolute idiot. Like, we see all the staff running around to find the Xenomorph. For me, I'd be going the other way and trying to swim back to New Zion. Lend me a wetsuit, mate. Meanwhile, Joe, Nibs, and Wendy head out, and we see the kid's gravesite. Nibs sees her real name, which is Rose Ellis. We then see Marcy's, and it must have been insanely emotional for Joe. I think the fact they buried them also highlights the corporation know the truth. They know that the kids have died and that a machine simply downloaded their consciousness. It's now copying them, but isn't really them. It's simply an AI. Much in the same way that Grok can mimic an author or the style of an artist, this machine's now simply copying a human. And it really asks questions about the soul. If we have a soul, then can that be copied and turned into something digital? Or is this lack of a soul, while the mind's still going, basically something that's sending people like Nibs insane? Wendy reminds them that it's not them, which is something I agree with. To her though, it's sort of a reincarnation and they're still alive. But Nibs says,
I don't think I am anymore.
I think Nibs knows the truth, and this is what's been destroying her. When she's looked in the mirror, been confronted with a near-death experience, had her memory erased, she's slowly seeing that isn't how humans act. To me, she's trying to do outlandish things to retain her humanity, and basically doing things like saying she's pregnant, which a machine can't do, but the fact she's saying it is because, like, look, I am human, I am human. I do also wonder if these minds can switch bodies as well. Much in the same way they could theoretically remake Toodles. Maybe even a scientist like Arthur could transfer them, but yeah, that guy is soon to be crab food. Either way, the graves have clearly been abandoned, and due to the growth, no one's really visiting them. Which you really wouldn't, due to the machines now seeming like the kids. I think it's sad though how the children were basically just euthanized, and then machines that mimic them were pushed by the corporation like they were the brand new iPhone. What's really happened though is what Arthur touched on earlier in the season, and in the end they've just killed some kids. Well, to me anyway. I know some people think that they are the kids and they are still them, but if you disagree, let me know below. What we can't argue though is that beneath their exterior they're all just machines, and I think this revelation with Toodles really hammered that home. If you want to see what they're like beneath the machine, then did you know we've just launched our brand new hybrid t-shirt which features Wendy. Our artist Sheridan based this off some of the promo art for the show, and it's one of the coolest designs we've done so far. Sheridan hit me up just as we were about to publish this video as well and said, look mate, we've got an even better shirt I've just launched. It's the bloody eye shirt. It's the best bloody shirt on the design. Scrap that other shirt, but buy that as well. But we've got the Oculus eye shirt as well that you definitely need to pick up. We've also got our isolation shirt, and I've just launched a variant version of it with the Maginot crest on the front. As always, if you get 3 of them, mate, you're going to get put into the deal where you get 20% off. You buy 2, I think you get 15% off. There's deals, and it's a steal. Cheers. Joe then spots the security team and they decide to move on. Wendy might just be telling herself that the graves aren't them as she sees a memory of her body being zipped up and then sheds a tear. It's an interesting take on what it means to be human though, and while I wasn't too hyped on this part of the story, especially in the early episodes, at the moment, it's probably my favourite part of the show. Other than the eye, but it brings back a lot of memories and I can't look at myself in the mirror because I've got fucking gammy eye at the moment, which I hate! In terms of the synths though, I think Wendy's up there with like Bishop or David for me, as there's a complex side of them that makes him a really interesting character. Now, I kind of see her and Kirsch as opposite sides of the same coin. Kirsch is sort of like David in that he wants to watch what happens when chaos comes for the humans. In Covenant and Prometheus, you know, that was in the form of the Xenomorphs and Engineers, but in this show, there's lots of different specimens. Basically, we're his experiments, and that's kind of what I get from Kirsch. Wendy, I think, also sees a lot of kinship in the creatures, but she wants to use them for the betterment of mankind. So it's a more human perspective, whereas Kirsch is more like a machine. Either way, they then head out, and Joe's of course been studying the security guards on the island, knows the patrols, and also what route to take to the boats. So, complete with 2 killer robots, he's able to outsmart them for a bit. We then rejoin Slightly and Smee and see as they're almost caught. We get a look at the patrol, which has something very, very cool. We can see one of them has a machine gun, which is held just like a smart gun, which is one of the best guns in science fiction. He even has the shoulder-mounted light and body armor that the smart gun operators have in the franchise. I was like this when I spotted it. It's interesting that this and the pulse rifle are being used by these prodigy security guards, as the Colonial Marines used them when they were working through Yutani. The other guys in the squads are using versions of the M4-1A pulse rifle, and I do feel the fact there's so many guards patrolling the island also means the facility's a lot less guarded. This could lead to the other creatures breaking out, though they do seem to reunite and capture Morrow. The soldiers pass by, but it's all gone wrong for Slightly. They're like, dude, where's my face hugger?
Dude, where's my car?
The creatures come off and we see as it's now dead. is similar to how they found an alien after it had planted its seed. But hey, it seems like everything's okay, and to make things even better, Arthur's doing fantastic. Always saw like what he's going through here is sort of that weird euphoria that dying people have, which is known as terminal lucidity. Just before death, people will seem normal, totally healthy, and maybe even happy. In the franchise, it happened to Kane, Navarro, and now also Arthur. It almost kind of puts him into a high here. We know from Kane that he had a nightmare about smothering, and I do wonder if getting out of the dream then makes you feel better. Like waking up from a nightmare and realizing it's not real. Hey, it's not that bad. Arthur also doesn't remember things because his brain has likely repressed it. But it seems fine, and better than fine, mate. Seems great. Then leads to a very funny conversation where they try and convince him it was a gas leak, and they dragged him out to safety.
Confusion is a side effect of the gas.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic piece of comedy, as Arthur casually says.
What is that?
He has no idea what the facehugger is and is confused why he's outside. We also hear that he and Dame had a fight and that he doesn't want her last memory of him to be that. Does kind of make me think he was expecting to go away forever and that the company wouldn't let the pair see each other. Because corporations basically control everyone's lives and he knows how secretive the island is. Now though he dies, I do have a theory about what could be coming down the line, which I will discuss later.
I think you maybe saved my life.
Then he just stares at him thankfully, which yeah, about that, mate. Arthur's also studying them though to see if they're telling the truth.
Children have to learn how to lie. And you two are still learning.
Like my kid will be, I come in my house and I'm like, where the hell's my alien Funko Pop? I need it for the video, and the kid will be like looking around like, I don't know. Kids need to learn to lie, basically. So he knows something's amiss. Morrow never mentioned the chest burster though, so the kids don't really know what's coming. As they head out, we then get some clever editing as we see flashes of the last episode. It's great visual shorthand for memory recall, and Arthur slowly remembering what happened. He realizes that something's wrong and starts to snap out of his euphoric state.
Wait.
However, he wants to still help the kids, even offering to take them back and figure things out. You know, the guys at this point, he could just go to the dock and he knows the boat code, so he could easily escape. However, he just wants to look after the kids, even under the threat from Atom that he'd be shot if he stayed there. We know that he never managed to have them in real life, and the hybrids are a chance at raising them. This is of course taken from him, and Arthur's a very tragic character. He didn't get to have kids, was fired from his job, lost his wife, and then lost his life. I think how it highlights in this world, trying to do the right thing gets you killed. Morrow, on the other hand, has been completely ruthless, and this is what's kept him alive. Like, even if he'd opened the door for Zaveri, that would have caused some more complications. And yeah, only room for one in the impact room anyway. Xenomorph might have gotten in earlier though, but because he was selfish, he ended up surviving. Arthur actually helps though and says,
That's the thing about lying. You do it once, and you gotta keep on lying.
no you don't. Slightly finally has someone who will listen to him and not just use him. He even sheds a tear and then they walk off holding hands. It's all fine, it's all gonna, oh wait, oh crap. They're horrified as the chest burster comes out in a harrowingly awful scene. Just like the crew of the Nostromo, it takes them by surprise and sprays blood everywhere. We probably can't show it, but it does kind of show how much special effects have improved since the 70s, as though it's the same thing happening in the scene. You can see just everything's been turned up and looks way more realistic. Like even the padding they had with John Hurt, they don't have that here. However, I figured out your trick, mate. Sand is actually fantastic for stuff like this, as you can bury the person and have certain parts of their body popping out and then use a dummy for the rest of it. Which I believe is what they do. I think it's his head and then he's buried under the sand with his arms out and then they've got a fake body there. If that's not the case, sorry, but yeah, looking at their effect and trying to figure it out, I was like, this is how I would do it because I'm a big Hollywood movie star. I'm a big director. I made 10 James Bond videos. It all happens so fast though, and the creature scurries away before they even know what happened. The kids are traumatized as Smee says, you lied to me, and the poor old lad has been used and lied to after thinking he was helping. He's managed to avoid the horror of what's going on so far, but this is a brutal wake-up call. Now Slightly's only hope is to bring the corpse tomorrow. So they drag his body along the sand, and yeah, the kids are just out their depth. We then see Curly going to see Dame. He says mum, which is interesting, as Boy constantly reminded Dame that they're not her children.
Mom, I'm here.
They'd obviously look for that kind of figure on Neverland, and it reflects how in Peter Pan, the Lost Boys wanted Wendy to be their mother. Throughout the breakdowns, we've constantly talked about how the roles have changed and how certain characters have become different characters in the story. So I do feel like Dame could become the Wendy mother type figure, and Wendy will become a mother to the Xenomorphs. She will then become the queen and lead them to take over the island. The moment reminds us though that they're kids at the end of the day, as she says,
Everything's hard and I don't know what to do.
it's a very vulnerable moment for Curly, and I think it shows why the machines are breaking down. Ultimately, kids are chosen for this because they're young enough to where their minds can be copied without necessarily breaking them. We do know it can't be done on adults, however, in putting a kid in a machine, you're basically copying across someone who isn't fully developed mentally, and thus they can't handle what they're going through. So the only people who can be copied can't deal with it, and thus we now know why the hybrid program isn't featured further in the timeline. Other than like they only came up with it in 2025 or whatever, but this is why it doesn't appear in Aliens and stuff like that. Anyway, Curly's now just seeing her perfect world crumbling around her and realizing Neverland isn't what it was sold as. Toodles is dead, Wendy's taking nibs, and she's sat there wanting a nice normal life. It's unclear as to whether she told Dame about what happened, but again, in my eyes, she most likely did. We then see poor Arthur splayed out on a bamboo raft as the boys take him out to meet Morrow. All his dignity's gone, and he's just a lifeless empty shell, just like Toodles. This also reminded me a lot of like the dead character in a Vietnam War movie. I have no idea when they had time to build a raft though. Like a proper raft that as well. No wonder that took ages. Morrow then appears with his crew like Frogman Special Forces and says they've made landfall. It's kind of like a nightmare where they just emerge out the water. They're clearly prepared for a fight and also have pulse rifles and smart guns. We then see Morrow say,
I told you to come alone.
he's cold and nasty to poor Slightly, and it seems Arthur died for nothing. It's crazy how Slightly's more human than Morrow, and he doesn't even tell him what happened to his mother. Slightly just breaks down, and Arthur's body is just unceremoniously dumped into the water. We saw that doll washed up on the beach during the episode 4 title, which is where I was expecting him to turn up. In the end, we don't see that doll or really what it means, but that takes us into theory time. Okay, so shut up for a second, right? I've been thinking about the eye, and I'm wondering if it needs to inhabit a host while it's alive. After all, the cat looked pretty mangled, and I'm pretty sure it killed the sheep upon entering its body. So really its victims are all dead and just being puppeted around. Because of this, I do wonder if the eye could potentially inhabit Arthur's body. This could lead to it talking to Boy, and we'd also get an amazing scene with Dame in which she sees what her husband's turned into. Just having him wanting to see her again, being twisted in this sort of fashion, would be such a mental way to take things. And I do kind of hope they do something like that in the finale. Anyway, that's in the theory time. In space, no one can hear your theory time. Anyway, we cut to Boy Cavalier with the Oculus in his office in one of the most unnerving escalations so far. We learn that the Xenomorphs have escaped via a waste pipe and that the Lost Boys are living up to their name. His focus should be on them, but once again, Boy's attention's been taken by something new and shiny.
Oh my god.
Sheep have been used in major breakthroughs in science before, with Dolly the sheep being the first ever clone. That's kind of what they're going for here, and the eye demonstrates its intelligence as it's able to recite pi.
Pie.
All advanced civilizations would know this, and it knocks away the next 2 digits. Like, they're saying all advanced civilizations would know this, but I didn't know it, so maybe I'm an idiot. What? This is how I find out. As for the final insult, it drops some shit and shows how demeaning it is to be kept in a cage.
Oh, if only you could talk.
I do wonder, like, if it inhabits a human, if it would just attack another human, or if it would sit down and be like, look, I've got a human body already, I don't really need to upgrade. It's like when you get a new phone, you know what I mean? I do wonder if it would do that. Yes, it attacked Zaveri on the ship, but it knew that crew were hostile and trying to keep it in a cage. So maybe if you're like, oh, look, mate, you just take over a body, I'm going to sort you that, 24-month contract, you sit down, enjoy yourself. If the eye would be up for that. It also kind of shows how much of an idiot that boy is. Wendy exhibited uniqueness at first, so he completely loved her. However, when she was out of commission, he then focused on Curly. Then he went back to Wendy when she could talk to the aliens. He's just so erratic and ultimately inviting more and more dangerous things around him. It's at the point that he's moving the sheep into his office. Like, what are you doing? Everything is on fire around him, but at least he has that smart sheep, I suppose. He even says,
You're being ridiculous.
No, you are, mate, because it's all gonna go to shit. Can you not tell what the way the season's going? Now, I want you to pay attention to what Adam says here.
If this creature were to escape and embed itself in the human population,
Or just one person.
Emphasis on the human population, not the population. The fact he says human makes me think that our theory about Adam being a machine is indeed correct. Because normally you just say the population. Now the other evidence for this is that during episode 4, he of course caught that ball. This is something Wendy also did as well, and I believe he's a machine, which I feel this line further confirms. We know from that article on board that he was in a car crash that killed one of his family members. It even has me wondering if Adam's modelled after his father and he basically replaced him as an advisor. I'll not theory time it, don't worry, but I do feel like, yeah, seeing that here just kind of struck a chord with me. But yeah, Boy is going ahead with keeping the sheep close, even though everything is shown they can't be contained. I think my biggest criticism about the show is how everyone's just a complete idiot. I could explain them as you know, crew away, because they just hire the cheapest workers, and only the desperate ones would work for 65 years.
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
But last week, Dame just sent Nibs back to her friends after wiping her brain. The only thing that seems smart is the eye. I also think Boy does see some kinship in it though. It seems to just do things to see what would happen. Basically, to see the outcome, just like what Boy is doing. Banging the door and stuff, it's not even sure if it'll help, but it knows it's going to cause some chaos. And this is what Boy's doing throughout the season. Either way, he wishes the sheep could talk, which leads him to maybe his most sinister idea yet. He wants to put the Oculus into a person and gets the idea from Adam's warning. Did make me laugh as well when he said this.
You know, someone who talks and uses a toilet.
So yeah, he's just had a shit in the cage. We see just how expendable his staff are though, as he wants to put it into a scientist. However, he then changes his mind and wants to put it into someone with a low IQ like a mold scrubber, just to see if it makes them intelligent. First we had the staff murdered by the xenomorph, and now some poor buggers gonna have an alien eye in their head. Like, I wonder what the Glassdoor reviews are like working here. We did see Shmuel taking over as well, which led to him trying to solo a xenomorph. I do wonder if we'll get some sort of hellish hybrid of the Oculus and one of the other creatures, which this could all be leading towards. Boy then realizes he has the perfect person, which is when we cut to Joe. So yeah, you're screwed, mate. We then see an old piece of equipment, which looks a lot like the engineer's chair on LV-426. Don't think it's the same one, but yeah, just the way it's shot, it did kind of remind me of that. They're almost at the dock, but are then ambushed by Weyland-Yutani soldiers. Nibs looks like she tries to mimic a xenomorph to intimidate the troops. Reminds me of the weirdo scientist in Alien Resurrection. Their giraffe was trying to imitate a xenomorph, and Nibs is also just as loony as he is. We then get the xenomorph in the jungle, and when I heard about this series, you know, having it on Earth in these kind of environments, that was a big selling point of the show for me. I love that the yellowy head of the creature also helps it blend into the environment. It leaps from a tree and massacres the whole squad, and reminds me of something out of Predator. This is like the perfect environment that we could have the creatures facing off against each other in. And yeah, with Predator Badlands right around the corner, a Romulus sequel coming very soon, I do hope that we're building towards a crossover in this. The fact that Wendy's immortal as well, it means that she can easily pop up in those films that are further in the timeline. The creature then approaches, covered in blood, and Wendy touches it for the first time. What we are seeing is basically what Ripley may have even been able to do in Alien 3 had she not had that horrific experience with them on board the Nostromo. I'm guessing that the creature would have protected its queen and thus would have protected Ripley from danger. So she may have even been able to use it as an attack dog as well. And also like that creature in general, they basically put the prosthetics on a dog to see if it would work, and there's some hilarious behind the scenes footage of Alien 3 where it's just a dog dressed up as a xenomorph. Wendy, however, sees some kinship in the alien as they've both been experimented on and also controlled. Joe then makes a face, and Alex Lawther's physical acting is just so good in this show. It's great to see him grow as an actor, and I think I've been a fan since like Black Mirror and End of the Effing World. We'll bleep the swear in there. We then see the carnage that's just as bad as what happened in those Green Berets out of Fort Bragg.
I knew this man. Green Berets out of Fort Bragg.
He's starting to realize that saving his sister means the cost of someone else's life. It's the genesis of him tasering Nibs and trying to stop his friends from being killed. He's starting to realize that this isn't his little sister anymore and that she's actually extremely dangerous. She has zero qualms about killing as long as it helps her reach her goal. It's quite a dark turn, and if she becomes the queen, this is the attitude she'll need. We then catch up with Arthur's chestburster, which gets hit with a net, reminding me heavily of the Predator franchise once again. We saw it was used on a xenomorph in Alien vs Predator 1, which we do have a breakdown on the channel now for. Can I tempt you with some breakdowns, sir? So here, it does feel like a callback to that movie, or at least them using similar technology. The way it slithers is very snake-like, and there's lots of Garden of Eden iconography. Beyond Adam Eve, Boy's trying to play God, and Wendy's been blessed with knowledge. She's tempted to turn against the humans, and will now try and leave the paradise due to what a snake can take her to. Now, we later learn that who grabbed it's the Prodigy security team. Morrow's then seen heading to the bunker, which is what I believe the kids entered all the way back in episode 3. The set design looks absolutely stunning though. Feels like a Bond villain's lair on the outside and like a spaceship when we're on the inside. Morrow thinks he's got one over on Prodigy until the soldiers rush in. It's a very similar scene from the crash site. There we saw Morrow hold up both Smian slightly. Kirsch then entered and basically took over the conversation. He then says,
What did you do?
which is also what Wendy says at the end.
What did you do?
Both end up with the same fate, and the pair are captured by Prodigy's forces.
Nobody likes a sore loser.
Morrow then looks at the chestburster. It's kind of an evolution of the egg scene in episode 2, as there he looked at the egg, was confronted by Kirsch, Smee and Slightly, and then leapt away. Here though, Kirsch isn't gonna let that happen again, and he looks at the chestburster and then gets arrested.
Finders keepers.
Kirsch saying that is also just like his lines to Morrow in episode 2. He said how the ship isn't a place, but it is in fact an object. It's like a ball that's gone over a neighbour's fence, and Kirsch is that neighbour. The lads then go over to him and stand behind him, just like what they did on the Maginot in episode 3. It's kind of like your dad getting you out of trouble. Morrow's in denial, saying that this isn't over, and he's then locked up. Did make me laugh as well how Kirsch says that Smee and Slightly are grounded. Yes, the parent dynamic is great. We then catch up with our other trio as they arrive at the docks. However,
It's a trap!
now one thing I haven't mentioned is how much attention they put in the framing of the kids as they walk. It reminds me a lot of Peter Pan, where the kids walk in a line. There they follow the leader, and Michael even has a cuddly toy, just like what Nibs has in this episode. It further hammers home those connections to Peter Pan, and just like the Lost Boys were caught, these guys are caught as well. The boat itself's also painted yellow, which kind of mirrors the loaders in the premiere episodes that drove out to the crash site. So here they get caught, which leads to a standoff between Joe's friend and the rest of the Prodigy team. Mr. Strawberry's thrown into the water, and Nibs goes absolutely mental. Like, she completely tears off that security guard's jaw, like some kind of Mortal Kombat fatality. Again, in a possible Predator reference, she holds up the body part, just like the outro would hold up a skull and spine. I do wonder if Mr. Strawberry might also wash up in the shore as well, and kind of be like the doll in the recap. The soldiers are kind of screwed though, as they've been told not to harm the merchandise. So they basically just stand there watching everyone go on the attack. Nibs and Wendy make easy work of them before trying to call in the xenomorph. Proper like a kill streak reward. Siberian almost has her jaw ripped off as well before Joe sees sense and incapacitates Nibs. It's not clear if she's dead, as we do see her twitching like Toodles did. I love how they have the tasers as well, and basically have the gun set to stun mode. The white blood also drips out of Nibs, and yet, I will be interesting to see if she comes back. Rashidi tells Joe to drop the guns, and can also be seen wearing the same headset that the Colonial Marines wore. In the end though, Joe's betrayed his sister, and Wendy's lost everyone she looked up to. She was desperate to reunite with him, only for Boy to try and get into her head. She even said she could speak for herself, and while Joe realizes this has changed too much, she realizes she can't trust anyone human. Because of this, again, I do feel like the only way back's to erase her. However, in doing this, Boy would lose the person who can speak to the xenomorphs. I don't see any other way back though, and it's the one thing Prodigy have in their arsenal. Every time they do it though, they chip away at the hybrids, and it all comes with a cost. Closing out the episode, we then get Songs for the Deaf by Queens of the Stone Age, from their album Songs of the Deaf as well. I mean, I wish I was deaf when I was... Nah, quite like that album, to be fair. I did when I was a kid. I loved that album. I'm trying to sound cool and say I didn't like it, but I did actually love it. But yeah, like, them System of a Down came on Kerrang all the time, and I would sit and watch them. We also had Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters, the absolute GOAT. Unless you're his wife, of course. Now, Songs for the Deaf is a concept album all about a road trip across California. The lyrics for this song discuss the study of dying and then being in a hearse. As we saw, Nibs and Wendy saw their grave and have fully gone off the deep end now. They've abandoned their old selves and embraced their abilities. The song was teased by Noah Hawley in an interview where he explained why he's got such big rock songs to close out the episodes. He said that he wants to make it a huge arena show, with each song being a celebration of what you've just watched. Overall, it's a good way to close out the episode, and this one was full of action, lots of whoa, what the hell is going on here, and yeah, crazy moments. Like, even Sigourney Weaver's loving the show right now. Personally, I think it's pretty good. I think I do have some problems with the characters and the decisions, and yeah, I just hope that some of the plot holes I have, or even things like how Wendy can even do all this, gets expanded upon for the finale. I don't know what's going to be happening. There's, lots of things that could kick off, and at least the shows, constantly kept me guessing. But yeah.
It is a good show. That episode was better than episode 5, second best episode.
The state is also charging defendant with count 3, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony for moving and concealing the rifle used in the shooting. Count 4, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony for disposing the clothing he wore during the shooting. Count 5, witness tampering, a third-degree felony for directing his roommate to delete his incriminating texts. Count 6, witness tampering, a third-degree felony for directing his roommate to stay silent if police questioned him. And count 7, commission of a violent offense in the presence of a child, a Class A misdemeanor, for committing...
That's crazy.
Dang, I still have a run in expert.
Time is it 2:07? Fuck. Oh, 2:07. Look at that, gentlemen. I'm gonna end my stream. Peace out.